All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to the elect. This brother lawyer from Great Millstone, Miami, and the topic I want to go into in this lesson is about divine intervention. Okay, divine intervention, man. During Jacob's trouble, man, which we, basically what it's looking like is that we're in the beginning stages of it. But when we're in the thick of it, man, we got to know and understand that Yahweh Shai Shai is going to do miraculous things, man. There will be different forms of divine intervention, okay, from Yahweh Shai Shai to make sure that we're protected in these times and kept and, safe. All right. One of the main ones that I'm really going to focus on in this lesson is the Lord using divine intervention or, divine intervention through Yahweh Shai Shai through the angels. Okay, the Lord sending his angels to protect us, man. And that's in many various different situations in the scriptures where the Lord sent an angel or angels to deliver us when we were in tight spots, man, to guide us, okay, to protect us. So I just want to, cover a few examples and go over a few scriptures that highlight that. And, Lord willing, this video is edifying. Okay, so this is Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 19. It says, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him." Okay, now when you go to the word standard there, okay, the word standard there is nawas. Right. And the word nawas means to flee, to escape. All right. So it's going to be situations where, it may be a tight situation, right? Esau might be coming up against us, or they might have grabbed us up or something like that, or locked, thrown us in prison. And then the Lord set up a situation to somehow we escape. Okay. Using divine intervention. All right. Which we have examples of that in the scriptures, right? Okay. Like, for example, when you had the apostles in prison, okay. All right. The Lord sent an angel and opened up the prison and the apostles were let free. Okay. All right. You had examples like that. Okay. You have examples of the Lord allowing, some of our forefathers and even foremothers to escape, certain dire situations. For example, Yahweh Shai's birth, when Herod was trying to, search out where Yahweh Shai and his parents were to kill him. All right. And the Lord sent an angel for them to escape that situation. So, these are things to keep in mind, man. The Lord's getting ready to work a mighty deliverance in the earth, man. All right. It says to flee, to escape, to take flight, to disappear, to fly, to the attack on horseback, to put to flight. All right. So now say the Lord's going to send the angels to defend us, to attack on our behalf. Okay. All right. Which we have that example in Isaiah. Sennacherib's army was coming up against Jerusalem. The Lord sent an angel to destroy their army. All right. And also to put to flight. Okay. So the Lord, scriptures talk about let the angel of the Lord persecute them. Okay. So the Lord is going to send angels to fight on our behalf. And there's scriptures that go into it. All right. So, matter of fact, let me just cover some scriptures real quick. Some scriptures. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. Just some, standard scriptures we all know, right? Daniel 12:1, it says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, that the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." Okay, so there you go. All right, the Lord is going to send the angels, to deliver us during the time of trouble, Jacob's trouble, which is going to be a time unlike any other time in history, right? But the Lord's going to send his angels to keep watch over us, to protect us, to fight on our behalf. Okay. All right. So that we can be saved. Lord willing, we are found in the book of life. Okay. Psalm 34, of course, it goes into what? All right. Verse 7, it says, the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. Okay. And up above that, it says, this poor man cried and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. So we're going to be in situations to where we are calling out, crying out to Yahweh Shem Shai. You maybe tears in our eyes. You know what I'm saying? Troubled, afraid, and distressed. And the Lord, we calling on the Lord, and the Lord's going to send his angels to deliver us. Okay. All right. I know it's another precept in Psalm 91. Okay. So many precepts. But Psalm 91 and verse 7, right? It says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Okay, so the angels are going to be given charge over us, man, to watch over us, to protect us, man, or to keep us from danger, guide us in different situations. Okay. All right. So, it's going to be a beautiful thing to see, how the Lord does his thing in these times to come, man. But we really got to believe in these scriptures. OK, now, let me see. Where do I want to? Well, I did mention that. I just want to make sure I get that example so I don't forget. Let's see. Let me see. Aha. All right, so this is Acts chapter 12, and I'm gonna read through some of these stories, right? So this Acts 12 and 1, it says, Peter's arrest and deliverance. Now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. That goes to show you niggas ain't shit, right? Because these same Jakes, hated Herod. They didn't like the fact that there was this illegitimate Edomite king ruling over them. All right, but they all for it and pleased when he persecutes followers of Yahweh Shai, who are also Israelites too. Okay. They willing to, be pleased by the fact that other Israelites who believe in Yahweh Shai are being persecuted by this man that they claim to hate so much, Herod. Okay. Show you that niggas are just wicked. All right. The same niggas that complain about Esau oppressing them will be the same niggas that join hand in hand with Esau to persecute those who believe in Yahweh Shai, man. That's why scriptures say, though join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, man. You join hand in hand with the wicked, you going right down with that nigga, man. Okay. All right. So, verse 4, it says, and when he had apprehended him, right, so he arrested Peter, right, he put him in prison and delivered him up to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him. Right. Now, let's get the word quaternions. OK. All right. Just to see how many people they had as bodyguards and soldiers to guard this one man. OK, that goes to show you oppression and persecution, just hatred. OK, G5069 tetradion. All right. A quaternion, a guard consisting of 4 soldiers. For among the Romans, this was the usual number of the guard to which the custody of captives and prisoners were entrusted. 2 soldiers were confined with the prisoner, and 2 kept guard outside. 4 quaternions of soldiers would be used to guard, one all night, one for each of the 4 night watches. Okay. So in total, that sounds like about 16 soldiers, one for each watch of the night. Okay. All right. It says, intending after Easter, which was the Passover, okay, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, all right, to bring him forth to the people. Peter, therefore, was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. All right. And this is going to show you the importance of prayer, too, man. All right. We just not going to, willy-nilly walk our way through Jacob's trouble, man. Nah, we're going to be in situations where we're really crying out and praying to the Heavenly Father for one another and for ourselves, too. Okay. All right. And the Lord is going to act. As scripture say, we read Psalm 34. The poor man cried and the Lord heard it and delivered him out of all his troubles. And when Herod would have brought him forth the same night, Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. All right. So he was in chains and he was being guarded by 2 soldiers to make sure he wouldn't go nowhere. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and the light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. An angel said unto him, Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment about thee and follow me. All right. So get up. All right. Gird yourself. Put your sandals on. Put your shoes on. Let's go. Put your clothes on. Let's get out of here. All right. And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. So he didn't even know what was going on. So he was still kind of in a daze. He thought it was a vision or a dream. Right. It says, when they were past the first and the second ward, they came into the iron gate that leadeth out unto the city, which opened to them of its own accord. So the Lord opened up the gate on. He didn't have to touch nothing. He didn't have to climb a wall. Okay. And they went out and passed out through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and had delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. Okay. All right. So look, man, the Lord worked a miracle there, man. You see how the Lord delivered Peter out of the situation, man, using the angels, man. Okay. Using an angel. All right. It says, and when he had considered this thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken, named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran and told it how Peter stood before the gate. And they said unto her, Thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was even so. Then said they, It is his angel. But Peter continued knocking. And when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. They were astonished. Okay. All right. They were shocked that the Lord, he was there, because last memory they had, he was in prison, getting ready to be, potentially, put to death or murdered or whatever by Herod. And, it says, but he beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, Go shew these things unto James and to the brethren. And he departed and went into another place. Okay. So the Lord delivered Peter in that situation, right? Let's go to Matthew, right? It's Matthew chapter 2, right? Another example where the Lord delivered, Yahushai and his family from Herod, okay? Which I believe that the 2 Herods that we read about here, this one here, and then the one that we read about in Acts, okay, that we just read about in Acts, are 2 different Herods, okay, because Herod was also a family title, okay. All right, so verse 1, it says, "Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him." Okay. So Herod was afraid that Yahushua was born. He thought it was a threat to his position on the throne, right? Because again, he, wasn't an illegitimate Edomite king that was placed there. Okay. So he was looking at it like, oh, this is a threat. I gotta take this king of the Jews that was just born out. All right. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Yahushua should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not thou the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search diligently for the young child. And when we have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. And when they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star, which they saw in the east, went before them until it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, right? All right, Nawas, right? Standard Nawas, right? To flee, all right? And be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Okay, so there you go, man. All right, the Lord sent an angel to warn Joseph in a dream, all right, so that he might get up and depart and flee into Egypt, so that Yahushua could be protected from Herod's onslaught. Okay. So in certain situations, we're going to be in situations where, brothers may be in prison. The Lord send an angel to deliver them out of it. Okay. Brothers might be getting ready to be beheaded. The Lord send an angel to deliver you out of it. Remember Daniel and the lions, and the Lord sent the angel to shut the lion's mouth. It's different examples all over the Bible, man. It's all over the scripture. So, how exactly things will play out for us, we don't know. It could be situations where they coming after you, and then the Lord sent an angel to guide you through the whole situation, or to get away, like it did with Joseph and his, son Yahushua and his wife Mary, who was Yahushua's mother. Okay, so there you go. We got examples in the scriptures about this, man. So don't put the Lord in a box, man. Well, I do want to bring out this example real quick. Where are you? This is, I know it's where, All right, so the Lord in this situation sent two angels to Sodom to get Lot out of the city. Okay, so it could be a situation where, all hell is getting ready to break loose in the particular city or town you're in, and the Lord sent two angels to send an angel to guide you out of that situation. All right, in the nick of time, while all hell is getting ready to, go buck wild where you at. Right. Okay. Genesis 19, it says, And there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat at the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, arose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold, now my lords, turn, and I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him. And entering into his house, he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Because these were of the ancient alphabet, cabal of wickedness and filth, right? Sodomites, right? It says, and Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. Right, because Lot was responsible for them. They was his guests. All right, and them niggas wanted to fucking do abominable deeds with the angels, man, the wicked, man. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal with worse with thee than with them? And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. So they rushed him and try to push him, push through him and break the door, and then, do freak madness with the angels. Disgusting motherfuckers, man. All right. It says, but the men put forth their hands and pulled Lot into the house of them and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness. So the angels made these freak niggas blind, man. Okay. The angels use spiritual power, and these individuals lost their ability to see, both small and great, because it was old niggas and young niggas that was in this madness. And so that they wearied themselves to find the door, man. So they was blind, groping for the door. They couldn't find it, man. So imagine that. Troops coming, surrounding the house, trying to break in. The Lord sent angels blind they ass. They can't see nothing. Okay. All right. And the men said to Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law or sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord. And the Lord hath sent us to destroy it, man, because the angels was watching, man, reporting about how wicked Sodom was, man. All right, that's why different destructions be happening on earth. The reason why, because the Lord got the angels sending back reports. They surveying, doing reconnaissance, okay? All right, mapping out the terrain, seeing all the wickedness going on. And then the Lord sent the angels back to bring a destruction on that shit. All right, that's why different calamities be happening on the earth, man. Okay. All right, so it says, and Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, and which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. They didn't want to listen. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city. And while he lingered, because Lot was lingering, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hands of his 2 daughters, and the Lord being merciful unto him. All right, because it's gonna be certain situations we not gonna know how to act. We're gonna be all over the place. The Lord gonna send the angels and just grab us up, man, because the Lord being merciful, man. All right, it says, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. All right. And it came to pass, when he had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found great grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast shewed unto me in saving my life. I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold, now This city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one, and my soul shall live? And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar, and then the Lord rains upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plains and all the inhabitants of the city, and that which grew upon the ground. So you see that the Lord, the Lord delivered Lot in the nick of time. Okay, it was the great escape, but the Lord sent the angel for Lot and his family. So it can happen, man. And it's going to happen. These things are going to happen again. Okay. That which is then is now. Let me see. I know I mentioned Daniel, right? Daniel. Let's see. I know I mentioned Daniel. I'm trying to find it. Okay. All right. Daniel chapter 6. Right. Which read the whole story, right? All right. Daniel gets cast into the lion's den because he worshiping his God, niggas hating. They set up a whole plan that Daniel get cast into a lion's den, thinking that's for to do some shit. Because of their envy towards Daniel, and the Lord delivered Daniel. Okay, read the whole story. All right. Daniel chapter 6, verse 16. Right. It says the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. Yeah, you're right. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting, neither instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of the lions. And we came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel and has shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the dens of the lions, them and their children and their wives, and the lions had the mastery over them, mauled them to pieces, bitch. Yeah, you niggas. And to break all their bones in pieces or wherever they came at the bottom of the pit. So as soon as they landed in that joint, the lions pounced them. All right, slaughtered them. Good job. Good job, lion. Yeah. All right. Call Lion Shai, the Lord delivered Daniel. You see that? You see? So we gonna be all right, man. The Lord gonna look out for us. Of course, you're gonna have situations where, some of us are martyrs to what, ratio, who it's gonna be, how much of it's gonna be. We don't know, but we know the Lord gonna lift up a standard and deliver us. So, and at the end of the day, the Lord gonna raise up the elect who are martyrs first, and we gonna be in the kingdom, live forever and ruling over the heathen, and Babylon gonna be destroyed, and you heathen gonna be in slavery. So yeah, it don't really matter what the fuck y'all do. All right, so all right, I got another scripture here out of Daniel again. Should already know where I'm going. All right, so All right, so again, read the story. Story is long. I'm just gonna try to get to the point. Let me see. Because can I get to? I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I might have to read the whole story. All right, I'm gonna read the whole story because I like this story a lot. All right, so this Daniel chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and the breadth thereof 6 cubits, and he set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come up to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And the princes, the governors, and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud, To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth not, falleth not down and worshipeth, shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Right? Which is what Esau trying to do now. He's trying to, he's going to bring the MOTB, the Mark of the Beast RFID chip. All right. And you got to take it or you get cut off from society, which who gives a fuck about the society, right? The scriptures talk about that there's going to be those that's beheaded for not worshiping the beast and his image and receiving his mark. Okay, so it's going to be that same kind of pressure, right? They're going to be like, well, if you don't do it, we going to kill you, right? Verse 7, it says, Therefore at that time when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whosoever falleth not down and worship it, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. All right. It says, These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. All right, because they worship they worship the Most High, Yahweh. Okay, and this time we worship Yahweh through His Son Yahweh Shai, man. Yahweh Shai. We ain't, Lord willing, we ain't looking to take the MOTB and worship Esau and be down with this system and society. All right, it says, Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they besought these men before the king. They brought these men before the king. Right, because Nebuchadnezzar was mad. He was like, yo, I set y'all up over the provinces and y'all ain't listening to what I told y'all to do. Right? I set y'all up nice and you gonna just give me y'all ass to kiss it like that? That's disrespect. All right, that's insubordination, right? Treason. Off with his head, right? So it says, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, It is true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made well. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. Look, Nebuchadnezzar, we ain't much gonna hold you. All right, we not scared of that shit. Okay, we not gonna try to pretty up our words to appease you or dance around the question. Right? That's basically what they're saying. All right. It says, if it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. All right. So our God gonna deliver us anyway. But if not, be it known unto you, unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. And if he don't deliver us, we still not gonna worship that bullshit. Okay, that's what that's what they said. Oh my God, call on Larry Bashim Al Shai, man. Oh my goodness, our forefathers was just man. Those was some mighty men, man. We got to come in that same spirit, right? It says, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury. So he was inflamed. He was mad. All right. It says, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So his whole countenance changed. He was just full of wrath and anger. Therefore, he spake and commanded that that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. So they heated it up 7 times. They was throwing, stuff in it to make it hotter. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other ornaments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So he commanded his soldiers to grab them up and toss them in the fire, but the furnace was so hot that the soldiers got burnt up. And then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fell into the furnace, right? Okay, it says, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire, and the princes and governors and captains and the king's counselors gathered together saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Okay, so the fire did not affect them, okay, in any way. They didn't smell like smoke. They didn't have the hair of their head wasn't singed. Their coat wasn't changed. No burn marks, nothing. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel to deliver his servants that trusted in him, and has changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. You understand? So, hey, praise the Lord. Again, the Lord sent an angel. That's the point. I had to read the story. I had to. All right. It says, therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which spake anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there's no other God that can deliver after the sword. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Okay, so, the Lord delivered him again. Okay. All right, you got other examples too. You got other examples. I gotta get this example. I'm gonna try to be quick with it or something like that. Okay. Let me see, man. All right, so I'm just gonna try to get to the point. Yeah, all right. So basically, this is how the story goes, right? So, Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, he's marching on Judah. He done conquered, several cities, and he's surrounding Jerusalem, right? He sent his ambassadors to talk some shit and try to get Hezekiah and Jerusalem to surrender or else, right? right? It's always or else, right? Some, threatenings and, read the story. All right. The point is, the Lord sent the angel to deliver Hezekiah in Jerusalem. The Lord gonna send angels to deliver us too. All right. So, all right, I'm just gonna get to the point. Whatever. Read the story, okay? Isaiah 37 and 36, it says, Then the angel of the Lord went forth and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 140 and fourscore and 5,000. So 185,000 Assyrian military, men got slaughtered by the angel of the Lord. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt at Nineveh. And it came to pass as he was worshiping in the house of Nichrosh, his god, that Adramelech and Sharezer, his son, smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Armenia, and Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead. All right, so you got to read the whole story whenever you get the chance. I didn't want to do this video so long, so I'm just trying to, I guess, cut it down a bit. But, they heard word of what Sennacherib's ambassadors said. They brought the word to Hezekiah. Hezekiah heard the words. He brought it before the Lord. The Lord sent Isaiah to comfort him. And then the Lord worked the work by sending an angel to deliver them from the Assyrians' army. So it could be situations like that, we were, we surrounded. The Lord sent an angel to destroy our enemies. Or you might have your head in the guillotine. The Lord sent an angel to deliver you. Hey, we got examples in the scriptures. Hey, trust in what the Lord said, and hey, watch the Lord work. All right. Let him work, man. It's going to be very exciting. OK, and we got front row seats, man, because Lord willing, we're the servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We trust in him. So we got the best seats in the house. Call Lord Bashem Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, green millstone citations to the elect. And yeah, all you rebellious, wicked motherfuckers that want to serve the Lord, you're going to die to death. Bye.